Welcome back, Dogface Soldiers. You're listening to the 3rd Infantry Division Realism Gaming Podcast. I'm Staff Sergeant Skitz, and with me tonight we have our speakers. Gentlemen, if you would go down the line and introduce yourselves.
Sergeant First Class Brock.
Staff Sergeant Grigorov.
Corporal Garcia.
And Staff Sergeant Skitz. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. We have quite a bit to go over with. First, we'll go over the promotions and billet changes of the last quarter. Some of these were significant, some of them were not. But we'll go over the main ones, and we'll take it from there. First Platoon Widowmakers received a new platoon readiness NCO during October's ceremony. Staff Sergeant K.Grigorov. How do you feel about your new position, Greg?
Well, it's been fun, honestly, because I've gotten to see the other squads more closely than just my squad, and best I can put it, enlightening. That and also, killing all of you during Saturday with Zeus. I mean Sunday. That's also kind of fun.
Yeah, you must have had a blast last Sunday. We took quite a bit of flack.
Copy that. Get your mine detectors up.
Oh, you have no idea. We spared you. Let's put it like that.
Excellent. Also, another promotion. 1st Platoon, 1st Squad Scorpions was assigned a new squad leader, Corporal Alexander Vandal, who was our last quarter's soldier of the quarter. He's doing well. He was previously under my charge, and I recommended him for a new squad leader position. So I feel he's ready, and I know he'll do well. So I'm glad to have him going up through the ranks. I think he'll be a fine asset in Scorpions. And former acting squad leader is now assigned an official role as a squad leader. This soldier is Sergeant Ryan Lang of Ghost Squad. He's moving up from a previous position as a fire team leader. I think he'll do great things in the unit. And I look forward to see his progress. As I'm sure the rest of you are as well. News from prior quarter years. Since deploying to Africa in April, 3rd Infantry Division was redeployed to Mopti, Africa, and Mali to continue counterterrorism operations in the Sahel. Now, we've been going in since April, and we've had some good times, we've had some bad times. The resistance seems to be tougher than usual in some spots, but some spots seem to be rollover. So it really depends on the terrain, but we've been doing pretty well besides that. So I think we should be doing well in the coming weeks and wrap up this campaign sometime in the near future, I hope. Now, news about our staff shops and DMOS availability. Recruiting and retention is currently hiring. Force Improvement Group is currently hiring. All other DMOS roles are full at this time. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Force Improvement Group is yours, is it not, Sergeant First Class?
That's a firm. I'm NCOIC is big. Good hit.
Things going well?
They are. We've had a really significant increase in recruits and new trainees over the past month. A real turnaround from August. We've met those challenges head on, getting these guys up to speed, ready to go in terms of our SOP, basic infantry tactics, doctrine, customs courtesies, you name it. We've been hiring in FIG, like you mentioned. We have several range safety officer as well as several drill instructor positions that are currently open. So I want to fill those gaps to make sure that we're, ready for the next wave of trainees once they get in through recruiting and retention. But all in all, FIG's going well, and I'm very grateful to have such great assets in there to work with these new soldiers.
Yeah, of course. And the fall is usually our big month. Everybody's going back from summer. Everybody's not enjoying the outdoors as much as they want to.
Right, exactly.
And I believe Force Improvement Group is our largest DONYS. Is that correct?
That's good copy. If I remember correctly, it is. We currently have 18 soldiers, and that's not counting the administrative cadre, command staff that have served prior in FIG and continue to support our events. But yeah, it's pretty big, and I've got room for about 4 more soldiers in that shop. So we'll see what happens, and if anybody's interested, check the applications on the DMOS forums and shoot me a message if you have questions.
You heard it here, folks. Sergeant First Class has room for plenty more soldiers. Excellent.
I know Public Affairs only has 10 positions. Well, we have, I think, 12 if you count the Major and LT Labor. But But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine having like 18 people, 24 people in my demos. That's a lot of micromanaging you gotta do. So hats off to you, Sergeant First Class.
Hey, I'm only as good as my soldiers, so they make the work that much easier. You know, if we've got 8 cadre in a full OSIT course, we're able to get those 5, 6 soldiers in 3 hours or less. So great work on their part.
Excellent, excellent. And for interesting news related to Arma 3, the Third ID has continued to have public events on Friday at 1900 Eastern Standard Time. We often do SOG Prairie Fire, the Vietnam DLC, and we also do other stuff as well. It really depends on the Zeus maker, and usually broadcasts it in our chat room and on our website. You can see that by going to thirdinf.us, and you'll see a splash page, and then click forums, and you will see the main chat page there if you're interested. Now, Sergeant First Class Brock, if you would go on and discuss our Silver Guardian campaign deployment since July.
Absolutely. Thank you, Staff Sergeant. So, like you've mentioned, we've been in country in Africa since April. We landed initially in Niger, took up contact with GSIM and other militia forces, enemy terrorist forces in that area very quickly. Really had our work cut out for us, but, we marched across the desert. We had experience in that in Iraq with Operation Thin Ice, so we knew what we were up against. But since then, we've been pushing further south into Mali, into the Mopti region, and now we're pushing even further south in Mopti into some very dense jungle terrain. A lot of these areas have very small, basically grass hut villages dispersed throughout the countryside. No real urban centers, to make contact with local civilians or to patrol and look for enemies. Not to say that there aren't some towns and cities, but really we've been doing a lot of work just, humping through the hills, through very thick jungle canopy, and, contacts, they can get up very close in that kind of concealed terrain. So definitely, it's been pretty hot. Last week's mission was no exception with that. We got right up there into the center of that GSIM regional force outside their HQ, and we really we went in there guns blazing, but every block was earned. So it's been more of the same since April when the French withdrew. We moved in. We knew there was going to be a power vacuum that we were going to have to fill as we get local forces, basically secured and ready to take on the next phase of these operations. But from everything I've heard from our S2 shop intelligence, everything I've seen on the ground, I think we can expect at least another month in country. There has been some talk of wrapping things up perhaps at the end of November, but we're still looking for the chief, our GSIM commander in country, in Mopti, that is. And we also have 2 U.S. hostages that we believe he is moving around. So it's been cat and mouse. Every time we make a contact, find a location, discover a strong point, it seems like he's been one step ahead of us, running through the jungle just, a couple hundred meters. So definitely, we got more, a lot more of the same coming ahead, but I'm really optimistic considering how well we've been performing as a platoon and as a company. I'm pretty sure that, it's every week we're going to get that much closer until we're right on them. So just a matter of time as long as we keep it all together on our end. And, as we've discussed before, the Mopti region is one of the last strong points, the last bastions of GSIM and its affiliated African terrorist groups. So, the duality of the terrain makes it difficult to navigate and to fight on. But, at the same time, we've had operations where it seems like we're looking for a needle in the haystack. But, when we keep it together, work as a unit, we always get it done. So I'm very optimistic that it'll be more of the same this time around.
Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, very unfortunate with the last commander incident. After me and Sklenar poured many, many hours analyzing the drone footage and the Hellfire missile that struck his vehicle, we're surprised he's alive. He might have encountered medical assistance in the jungle, because that's the only way he's walking out of his vehicle being fully destroyed by a missile from one of the Reapers. So if anything, that was just bad luck on our end, not bad execution.
Yeah, that's a valid point. That's just, it's kind of a roll of the die. There are no guarantees, no knowns really in combat. I mean, the fog of war is a real thing, as we've discussed tactically, in our AARs and debriefs. The uncertainty, the lack of confirmation of targets and of BDA, it's a real challenge for everybody involved. But I mean, that's the thing. These guys, these commanders anyway, with these hostages and others that they basically, either kidnapped or coerced into serving them, they've had some great technical and I guess you could say medical resources as well. We faced this before, where some guy is dragging some poor doctor along with his HQ and forcing him to keep him up and running. So it's a real challenge, to kill or capture the bad guy and at the same time to free without harming the good guys. We have accomplished it before, but that's the thing, every time we get close and he slips away, it's just another reason to keep it going because, he's really right around the corner.
Yeah, and it seems like the commander has plenty of sympathizers within the country to hide them. Because we've had a hard time finding him, and when he escapes, he's gone. We can't find him or anything like that. So I think he's probably having some help with his countrymen. So.
Yep, but we'll see what happens. We'll just keep searching, keep engaging, and interacting with the locals. Obviously, we're not here to, for any kind of anything other than security. We have some enemies we want to defeat. We want to prevent them from carrying on any further operations, including these really heinous attacks they've been carrying out. So it's just a matter of getting out and, engaging the hearts and minds, as much as it's a cliche. I mean, it's true, letting the locals know that we're not there as warlords to take over, and basically dictate anything to them. We're just there to make sure it's safe enough that, Malian government officials and basically offices at all levels can effectively serve the people. So that's the name of the game, security and, just keeping that country as free as it can be.
Absolutely. Now, we'll move on from Silver Guardian to our Soldier of the Quarter. Soldier of the Quarter is awarded the Soldier Medal every 3 months. They are usually a great asset to the unit, both DMOS-wise and in their billet. I have made it, and so has Sergeant First Class Brock, and now Corporal Garcia. So, Corporal Garcia, I have a few questions for you, but first I'd like to hear a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Garcia.
K.Skitz. Hello everyone, my name is Vinicius, but people call me Vinny. I was born and live in Brazil. Also because we made part of a military unit. I can also say that I served in Brazilian Army for 1 year, so I have real-life military experience. I served in 2017, and I went to the reserves as a corporal. I'm currently a student. I'm trying to pass a college entrance exam. There's a lot of those here in Brazil. I want to do law. One of my hobbies is traveling. I think a lot of people have this hobby too, but because of the pandemic, I can't do that. So I had to adapt, and I'm staying home most of the time. So what I like doing when I'm home, gaming. I think everyone here likes video games too. I play games of different genres, from MMORPGs to simulation. And currently, I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. This is a MMORPG, flight simulator. It's been a passion since the 98 version of the flight simulator. And of course, Arma 3. I play it every weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, I've traveled quite a bit myself. I went from east to west coast in the United States, and I've seen a lot of the country, a lot of good sites, a lot of shady sites in some areas. But
yeah.
overall, travel. You know what to expect when you get to the whatever they call them, travel agents, and they discuss a little bit. They tell you where to go, where not to go. So, why did you join the Third ID, and what keeps you here, Corporal?
Well, I can start a little bit before joining the Third ID. I always participated in Brazilian communities, Muslim communities, and that was my comfort zone. I stayed there like playing since 2012, since Arma 2 but in the recent years, my English skills have been growing, so I've always wanted to participate in an international unit and meet new people in the process. So I started searching. I knew that American and European units use the clan list. We didn't use that in Brazilian communities, but I started searching, and then I found Third ID at the top. I clicked on the website, and I found some qualities that got me in, and that keeps me here till that day last year. The structure, the professionalism of the soldiers here, and the time that this unit has been active in the community, like since 15 years of community time. So these qualities showed me that there was no better place for me to start my journey in international units. And so far, I think I can say that this journey has proven to be successful.
Absolutely. I've been in a few units myself, and I have to say the Third ID is one of the more professional units. When I first started, First Lieutenant Lambert, who was Staff Sergeant at the time, recruited me, and he brought me towards the website. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw that they were open until 2003, from 2003, and I was like, wow, these guys are really stable. So I knew, like, if I invested a little bit of time, got to know people, that I'd have a solid background, and people I could call friends. And I've enjoyed my time here, as well as you probably have, Corporal Garcia.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Sergeant First Class Brock. He was, I think, one of the first soldiers that I met here. He was very receptive. He showed me around the server, how the OSUT worked. And he was one of the reasons that I stayed here during the OSUT and later after that.
I remember.
Yeah, the trainings that we have here in the Third ID are pretty damn good. I remember OSIT training. I was like, damn, this is a very thorough and detailed OSIT, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite or memorable moment while serving the unit? Maybe a funny moment, maybe a Arma fail, or something like that?
I actually have two memorable moments. First one is the creation of Fort Squad, in which I'm still part of today. And some incredible people I've met there. One of them, of course, is Staff Sergeant Tucci. He's an excellent squad leader. Also, Poltrak, Cooper, Liwa. There's a lot of people that I met there. It was very fun. We had a lot of funny moments. I can even start saying, because there's a lot of funny moments. But the second most memorable moment was participating in Ranger School, which was one of the most challenging courses I took in Arma 3, because it lasts approximately 13 and a half hours, approximately, of continuous training, and it was overnight. So it started like midnight for me, and it went past lunchtime. So it was a very fun experience.
Yeah, you gotta have a sandwich on standby for Ranger School.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for your fellow soldiers, Corporal Garcia?
What can I say? Well, be accountable for your actions, for what you do. Follow the rules that unit have. Also, if you like what you see, help out in any way you can. Either by participating in the missions. If you don't have time to join a DMOS, the administrative side of the unit, if you can help with the numbers, joining us every weekend in our operations, in our squad drills, do it. If you can work in DMOS too, if you can do that, great. Whatever you decide, the goal is to leave the unit when better than when you arrived. And also, but not least, always have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what makes the Third ID such a great unit is that people actually contribute. If it's not through DOMSs, we have quite a bit of contributions that come in, monetary contributions that come in that help fuel the servers that we work on. And it's just really incredible to see how much people invest into the servers and the DOMSs. So it is really an incredible community, and I'm glad to be a part of it, as well as you, Corporal Garcia.
Me too, yeah, exactly.
Now, what Army value is the most important to you, and why?
In my opinion, integrity, because without it, in my opinion, of course, you fail in everything else. To have integrity is to do the right thing, to be respectful and honest with everyone around you. So in my opinion, if you have integrity, you're not going to have all the other Army values automatically, but you are more likely to succeed in having in all the other army values.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember on my Soldier of the Quarter, I said the same thing: integrity. If you don't have integrity, people won't depend on you. They'll find somebody else more reliable, and it really shines if you are holding your integrity to a higher standard. I mean, people can relate to you, people can depend on you, and you move up a lot faster if you have that integrity, which you have shown, Corporal Garcia, and which is why you are Soldier of the Quarter. Now, one last question, Corporal. Do you have any valuable lessons while serving in the unit?
I've learned a couple of things. First of all is respect for other people's efforts and work, because a unit of this size is not made by the actions of one person, but actually of dozens of people. So we need to respect every and individual work that people do here. Also, I've learned to have patience and resilience to get things done, because we have a lot of work to do. But we have patience, we have resilience, we can get everything done quickly, I would say.
Cool. Well, that wraps up our questionnaire for you, Corporal Garcia. I'm glad to have you with us. And,
Thank you, Staff Sergeant K.Skitz.
Yep, you answered pretty well, so good. Now, for the man behind the rank. Every quarter we go to the man behind the rank, we find a senior personnel within the unit, and try to get to know him a little better. Maybe some people in other squads that he hasn't served with maybe are a little bit curious. And for this quarter, we have Staff Sergeant K.Grigorov for our man behind the rank. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself, Sergeant.
Well, first of all, it's pronounced Callan, but it's fine. Every single foreigner butchers it, and it is normal. Well, about myself, not much to say. Been in the unit for a while. First time I joined the unit, I lied about my age, just like you do in the army, I guess. But that's a whole nother story. There isn't much of interest for most people. Specifically, I would say I am kind of going ahead of schedule with my life plan, if that makes sense. But other than that, I would say that life is good.
Awesome, glad to hear it. Now I have some questions for you, Staff Sergeant, and just answer them to the best of your ability. Now this is going back since you've been in the unit longer than me. So what brought you to enlist in the 3rd Infantry Division?
Well, my first enlistment back in 2016 was because I went on Armor Clans and just saw which unit was on the top back then. That was the reason for me to enlist in the 3rd. I didn't even know it was an American unit. Well, I knew it was a US Army simulating unit. I didn't know it was an American-based unit. Thankfully, the times did work out, being in the evenings of the weekend. It has cost me a couple of sleepless nights on Monday, but other than that, it's been pretty swell. Yeah, no fancy story. No person that introduced me, just Armor Clans.
Yeah, Armor Clans seems to be our #1 recruiting method. I went through the Steam discussions page on Arma 3, and I was like, okay, I'm looking for a unit, type. And Lambert was browsing them, and he recruited me from there. Now, your current rank is Staff Sergeant, and your billet is, you just moved to, what's it called, Readiness Officer?
A Readiness NCO. I am not an officer, I work for a living.
And how do you feel about your new position? Do you enjoy it? Do you find it challenging? Do you find it interesting? Or do you want your old job back?
Well, wanting my old job back isn't... I've squad-led enough to basically be fulfilled with the experience. I don't think there is much more I can get out of squad leading on my end. I do sometimes miss the boys and just being there every single weekend with one group of people, but the current rotation I can do between squads on Saturdays is also quite enjoyable, as I mentioned earlier. Mostly seeing how the others operate has allowed me to break down engagements in this operation, actually in the beginning of it, and even going back to Thin Ice. and make a lot more sense of them. Well, mostly watching my own recordings and listening to audio, but just seeing how the other squad leads operate has been very enlightening, and I have managed to jot down some things for myself, which I will keep a secret until the next, I guess, training course we hold.
Ah, okay. And if you don't mind me asking, Staff Sergeant, what do you do for a living?
Well, two things. I'm studying, currently second year in university, and I'm also working. I'm an intern in a big company in the marketing department, and I'm studying a marketing degree in university as well. I kind of started a bit early there. Most people start, at least in Bulgaria, from their third year with their working life. I actually started in 12th grade, but that's because, as I mentioned, life plan has just escalated quickly. I had free time and decided I could spend it on video games, but I could also earn some more pocket money, and it all just kind of escalated from there.
Yeah, money's always good. Do you have any interesting hobbies besides gaming?
Well, as my previous squad members are very familiar with, I also LARP, specifically the fantasy type, but unlike most of my friends, which we go to LARP with, I'm one of the crazy people that put on 30 kilograms of plate, mayo, and gambison and go hit people with a sword. Well, foam sword, but still.
Sounds very interesting, Greg. I'd like to see that sometime. You should do a little YouTube video, show it to us.
Oh, not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, maybe if you look up the LARP events I've been at, you find pictures of me, but I'm not gonna YouTube video that.
Okay, this one's sort of a dramatic question, but I'm curious to see what your answer is. If you only had one day left on this earth, what would you do?
Now that, two scenarios. Are my friends gonna do it with me? Or am I gonna be doing something myself? If I'm doing it with my friends, I would obviously go out into the mountains with them and either just spend the day there and then at the evening party as hard as I can. Or if I'm doing stuff myself, I got a couple of RPGs I need to finish. So probably speedrun the fuck out of Wrath of the Righteous right now. I know, boring.
Hey, you do you, man. Do whatever makes you happy. Do you have any guilty pleasures? Do you like to drink? Do you smoke? Do you have any other interesting little guilty pleasures?
Well, that's a trick question. Because I drink a lot. Not in the... Let me clear a misconception up for people. I don't drink because I'm an alcoholic, because I actually don't drink that much. It's just that when I have any kind of, not even an excuse, something to celebrate, something to feel good, I will just decapitate myself. As we say in Bulgarian, remove your head with alcohol. But I don't count that as a guilty pleasure, because I'm not guilty when I do it. Something that does make me feel guilty, though. Yeah, fun fact. Greg, the stone cold drunkard, enjoys reading cheesy rom-com books. I have too many of them in my library. I mean, I generally read a lot of books, but there's just something about the cheesiest rom-coms that gets to me.
Interesting. What is your favorite game in your Steam library?
Again, trick question. Favorite game is Escape from Tarkov, obviously. But if I have to pick Steam, I would have to say Fallout 4. Not because of Fallout 4 itself, but because of the modding community. And also, there was this span of half a year. I didn't have a very good internet connection when I was moving. So I just played Fallout 4 offline, exclusively. And also when you put 500 something mods on it, it's always fun.
I would play Fallout 4 more, but whenever I play the game, for whatever reason, I'm not alone in this. I've checked the Steam forums, and my loading times are just ridiculous. It'll be like 2-minute loading times. I've talked to you about this before, Greg, and you're always like, upgrade to an SSD, but I have an SSD. It's just weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Two things. You either have a very bad SSD, or you don't have the config options. But I can help you with that later, maybe.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it might be my config, because I don't know anything about that. What vehicle do you drive, and what would you like to drive in the future?
Vehicle. A Renault Megane 2 from 2006 with a 105 horsepower, which, like, at least 10 of them have died. It is a great vehicle. It has a steering wheel. It's a manual, diesel, 1.5. And when I want to open the driver's side door, I have to unlock it first, and then I need to hit above the handle for the door to open. That's my daily driver. I have a second car, but I don't daily drive that because I can't afford to feed the thing. Long story short, when my grandfather passed away, in his will, I got his car. In his late moon years, he modded the hell out of a E46 M3. It pulls about 480 horsepower, and it uses 19 liters of petrol per 100 kilometers, which for, I don't know how much that is in American. I can tell you it's triple that of my normal daily driver car, and that's a diesel, so I can't daily drive that.
Yeah, 5 gallons to go about 60 miles, maybe.
I don't know in American, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Now, everybody that knows you, Staff Sergeant, knows the answer to this question. But, for those who don't know, or for those who are curious about the members of the Third ID, are you an AK man or an AR man?
Well, glorious Kalashnikov all the way, but do the people here know the reason for it? We have 3 of you. Can you guess?
I would just thought because of your pride for your country.
I'm Bulgarian. It doesn't have much to do with Russia.
I'm thinking logistics, availability, and also ammo and other accessories.
Yeah.
Sergeant First Class is kind of right, but it's actually more simple than that. I'm a left-handed shooter in real life. The shark fin style ejector doesn't hit my forearm with brass, unlike the AR-15 that sometimes does. Yeah. I shoot left-handed.
Are you right-handed, but, like, do you write with your right hand?
Yes, I am right-handed in everything but shooting. I shoot left-handed because I'm one of the weird people who has a perfect 20/20 vision in my left eye, but my right eye is, I'm basically blind in it.
So you're left eye dominant.
Yes.
Yep, it happens.
And also, glorious communism.
Of course, comrade. Now, if you would tell me about your alignment, if any, in your country's politics.
The Green Party. Now, Bulgarian politics are very interesting. I don't have time to go into detail here, and I mean, it's Bulgaria. There's not much that anybody would care for. But basically, we have the Democratic Party, the most Democratic Party, which is blue, funnily enough. The Socialist Party, which is literally a communist party from back when we were, quote-unquote, a communist country, just reskinned. And the Green Party, who is about the eco initiatives. As a person born in the 2000s that actually keeps up with global news, that's why I lean towards them. Because of the fact that they actually care about the pollution we have here in Bulgaria. And actually, because of them, one of our major rivers still has fish in it. It's an actual thing that happened 2 years ago.
Interesting. I always like to hear the politics of other countries. I'm not really into it in my country because it's so like, what difference does it make? But for myself, I'm a conservative Democrat. I wouldn't say I'm left. I'd say I'm like in the middle, but towards the left. Not exactly Green Party. I'm Democrat, but yeah, I can see the appeal to Green. Green usually cares about the people and the environment.
And well, to clarify for the Americans, we don't have a two-party system. We have multiple parties, and usually the winning party wins with about 40-odd%.
It's quite a number. Okay, getting away from politics before we go on to like a 20-minute discussion. What is your favorite movie, if you have one?
Terminator 1 and 2.
Excellent. My favorite's Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Okay, good choice, but come on. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger's a fucking Chad. But Heat is my favorite movie. I've watched it like so many times. Other than that, I'd probably say Scarface. And do you have a favorite music genre?
Okay. Favorite music genre definitely has to be new metal, just because I enjoy it. I'm more of a rock and metal person, which is not that common in my country, because of a certain type of because of a certain different type of music here. But new metal definitely, like anybody else, I've gone through a Linkin Park phase, but let's not go into that.
Oh, you're up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
But
like new metal too. Oh, go on. Continue.
Favorite song is actually Red Sun from the Metal Gear Rising soundtrack. Why? Because Metal Gear Rising Revengeance just has a banger soundtrack, and I don't care if it's from a video game. It's a masterpiece of a song. That entire game soundtrack is a masterpiece of a song. For those that haven't heard it, listen to the Revengeance soundtrack, even if you're not a gamer. It's great.
Never really paid much attention to Metal Gear soundtrack. I enjoy the games. Like, I really enjoy the games. And I think there's rumors they're trying to make a new one. Is that correct, Greg?
They're trying to. Konami can go from wherever dark place they came up from after firing Hideo Kojima and just... Can they please bury Metal Gear and let it die with grace? I mean, there already was the zombie game, which killed the franchise, but... Can they just let it rest?
Do you have a favorite Metal Gear? Mine was 3.
A favorite? I wanna say 3, but the one I know the best is 4. Because PlayStation 3 I had like 4 before I got 3. Because my PS2 died a while ago. Well, literally years ago, but you know.
Yeah, I had some good times. I don't really remember 4 that much. And I haven't completed 5. I know. Kill me. Sacrilege. But I'm working on it.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. Did you directly enter the workforce, college, or military out of high school? Or did you take some time off to party and stuff like that?
Oh, as I mentioned earlier, I started to work at 12th grade, last year of high school in my country. I finished high school and immediately went to university while still being in work. I decided I will try to get an internship by my second year of university, which I succeeded in doing. Because in 12th grade and my first year of uni, I just built up my portfolio. Because as a lot of people know, having 0 years of experience versus having 2 years of experience in one job makes a big difference to recruiters.
Yeah, definitely.
0 to 2 years is what landed me my current job. They picked me because of my experience, even though I am a year early for most recruits for that position, because they take third-year students normally.
Okay, last question before I let you go, Greg. This kind of ties into the question before, but what is your proudest achievement you have undertaken and succeeded to this day?
Proudest achievement I would say managing to track down a friend before he decided to... we have a very, very tall bridge on the Danube River in Bulgaria. The audience can connect the dots where I'm going with this, but through like 3 of his messages and me remembering a conversation I had with him like 7 months earlier and driving 500 kilometers, I managed to stop a friend from deciding not to play D&D with us ever again or play anything else. That was an emotional roller coaster of 2 days. And a couple of speeding tickets, but I really didn't care about those.
Gotta take care of friends or family, man.
Well, when I say friend, I mean like he is like a brother to me, so... I know, cliche, but everybody has to have a brother from another mother, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Especially when I was younger, I didn't go to work right after school. I did a lot of partying, and I grew my friend base quite a bit. And after that, I got tired of doing the party thing. I just was like, I'm not doing it anymore. So I went ahead and got into a steady job as a machine operator. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Oh. I like how you said when I was younger, like, as if you're an old fuck. Oh, you're 33. Oh, no. You only have more than half of your life ahead of you. Like, come on. I'm 20 and I feel old. You don't get to feel old.
If I could be any age again, it'd be 25. I like 25. It's a good year. I mean, you're mature. You're not a teenager anymore. You're not in early 20s. You're in your mid-20s. You're in your prime of your life. And I just had a good time when I was 25.
And you can drink alcohol because apparently you can drink alcohol from the age of 14 in America.
No, definitely not. It's 21.
I mean, it's 18 here, but it's the Balkans.
Well, that wraps up the man behind the rink. I'd like to thank you, Staff Sergeant K.Grigorov, for participating today.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant.
Not a problem. Now, this is directed towards all of you. Is there any interesting mods, popular or unpopular, interesting in any way, shape, or form that we haven't been made aware of? We all know about Sog Prairie. I believe we all have it. But is there any other mods that you might think?
Well, for one, I definitely enjoy ZEI, Zeus and Eden Interiors, which we added in the past couple of months since the last podcast anyway. I tend to go, with a heavier focus on, quote-unquote administrative mods, things for Eden Editor, Zeus, etc., because I spend so much time either building or kind of supervising, scenarios and missions, etc. So definitely with Zeus and Eden Interiors, I've noticed a serious benefit in Zeus. Being able to garrison buildings, filling up interiors with just, kind of eye candy, if you will, just, immersive materials like desks, computers, etc. You have to excuse my dogs. And object fill.
Because I can't figure out how to do it on the fly. Like, is it like compositions?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And there's some that are, like it says, available in Eden, in the editor itself, and then in Zeus. And, their modules basically interior fill, object fill, garrison building, etc. So search for those, try them out next time you're in Zeus setting up, squad drills or something like that.
Sounds like a big time sink.
It really is, and I'm always looking to stretch that immersion. The base kind of maps that we have, they're great, for what we do, but I like to add those little things that contribute to the environment.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else? Anybody got any interesting mods that we might not be aware of?
Well, after that very wholesome and informative thing, I'm just gonna say only war. For those that haven't played the 40k mod for Arma 3, it's amazing. I recently, with a community of friends that we just play games, decided to do a liberation that was 40k themed. and it was just great. Just the weapons. If you're a Warhammer fan, you're just gonna love it. A friend of mine bought armor just to play with us because he's a Warhammer fan.
Yeah, Warhammer is cool. I'm not into it as maybe you are, but what chapter were you if you were a Space Marine or whatever?
No, we were a fucking Death Corps of Krieg. Why would you want to play a super soldier when you can play a man with a flashlight?
I don't know. I'm not like a connoisseur of Warhammer. I know a little bit of it. Like I can get by on the knowledge, but I don't really know that much about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of people play Space Marines. It's fine, but I think that playing a person, a human, is more relatable because last I checked, I don't have 2 hearts in my chest. That would be cool. I wouldn't have to sleep, but still.
Corporal Garcia, do you have any interesting mods that we may not be aware of?
I don't have any at the moment, no.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not really. I usually just play Arma with you guys.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me.
Yeah, because I've been playing Arma since 2009, so...
Yep. Yeah, we got everything we need, really. You know, everything for a Milsim environment. You know, there are some different weapon sets, some personnel, some uniforms, a couple of vehicles that I'd like to see, or that we had in the past, but don't use now because of the environment, you know, the area of operations. But all things considered, you know, COP, RHS, ACE, you know, we've pretty much got everything we need.
Yeah, I think we do pretty well as a unit, definitely.
Roger. Can I go ahead and give you a fire
Now,
mission?
if there's nothing else, gentlemen, that will conclude this quarter's podcast. I'd like to thank you all for showing up, and especially to the viewers, I'd like to thank you all for spending time with us today and getting to know the unit and its members a little bit better. Without further ado, I think we'll roll the credits and we'll be on our way. So thanks again for everybody for paying attention to us. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and stay tuned in January for our next quarterly podcast. And we'll see if we can get a new Soldier of the Quarter and a new Man Behind the Rank. Anyways, this is Staff Sergeant C.Skitz of Public Affairs NCOIC signing off, along with our other members, Sergeant First Class Brock, Staff Sergeant Grigorov, and Corporal Garcia as Soldier of the Quarter. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in January.
Punchline, fire mission, over. My position is as follows. 1-0-9er.